Sharon Hensley Alford. I was in the Solomon Islands from 1993 to 1995. And I remember we hadn't been at our site very long, not even just a few days, and we were invited to go to the local high school was having their graduation ceremony. So we were going to go with Max in he had an outboard. You either traveled, he was the fisheries guy at our station.
Volunteer?
No, Solomon Islander.
Okay.
And Maxie had an outboard canoe. So you either had a dugout canoe or you had a fiberglass canoe with an outboard motor on it. And Max had agreed to take us, and we were to be there, you know, mid-afternoon, and they had a big feast, and they were going to come back. We were going against the tide on the way to Rokira, and the boat, I was sitting in the front of the boat, scared to death. The boat is bouncing on the waves.
Rollers or waves? Or...
It was just a little choppy. And looking back, no big deal. But I had never been on such a little boat with such expanse of ocean before in my life. So I was, you know, and of course during training, they gave you all the rules about ocean travel and what you were supposed to do. Don't go without your life vest and a paddle because, you know, Solomon Islanders might not know how much gas they have left. And I was just scared to death. And we are going, and that, the front of course I sat in the very front of the canoe, and I was holding on for dear life as this canoe was splashing against the, and I didn't have very good command of the local language. And I just kept saying, bye, we go back, bye, we go back, bye, we go back. I wanted him to take me to shore as quick as possible, and I thought I could walk to Rokira. Maxie sat in the back laughing at me the entire way. The entire way there. He just laughed.
How long did it take about?
Oh, about 20 minutes. Wasn't very far. We'd walk to Rokira in a couple hours, so the boat trip was much faster, and he wasn't going to let me walk. But we got there. It was a beautiful feast, just amazing, and one of the first local feasts I had been at, and they had the dancers and the music, and it was delightful. Had a great time, but I was worried sick about going back the whole time we were at the feast. So, and I kept worrying because I was like, oh, we have to get back before the sun sets. We have to get back before the sun sets because, you know, what if we get lost in the ocean and it's dark? And I just had no idea, you know, I was scared to death. Well, on the way back, by then, the sun had set. The ocean is very calm once the sun sets. And we were going with the tide, not against it. It was the first time I had ever seen photoplankton. And so I was mesmerized with my head over the boat the whole trip back and didn't want it to end. With my hands going through the ocean, it was almost like in one of the Disney shows where they make the magic happen. And I was playing with the photoplankton in the water and mesmerized. And Max says, oh, watch this. He points his flashlight into the sea. Of course, it was pretty shallow still, and turns it off, and all the illuminant fish light up. It was spectacular. Absolutely spectacular.
I'm Gail Jenkins.
Okay.
And David Jenkins.
Put it close to your right, so I can get it.
And we were in the Solomon Islands, 1994 to 96. We were in Munda, and we were area
code, area counselor employees, or we were supervised by the area council in Munda, which is on the island of North New Georgia. Most magnificent area. My favorite story to tell because you're not always certain what you've accomplished. But I had a young man that was rather surly and sarcastic and a smart ass, and he was in my math class. And I could tell he knew what he was doing.
This was adult education.
Adult education. And I had a range of students that were maybe 15 to 75 years old, and because they had not gone further in school. But Donna Rye he was working in the hot bread shop nearby where we always got our fresh bread. And he had dropped out of the class, and I knew that he was a pretty smart kid. And I walked up to him and I said, "You planning to do this hot bread thing all the rest of your life?" I don't know what I'm going to do. And I said, "Well, why don't you come take the final exam in math? They're having it Friday." And I'll think about it. So he showed up, aced the test in about 30 minutes, got up and walked out. And I really hadn't heard from him in many years. We went back home. I think we got a letter from one of his relatives, and that he had been married. He had a son that he named David Jenkins after me, and that he had finished agricultural school, was now teaching in a secondary school, and was planning to go on to graduate school. So I felt at some point that was worth 2 years all by itself.